Do you shuffle? Two-step? Nod your head? In the early days of house music, dancers took their craft just as seriously as the DJs. Clubs had spacious dance floors where people could move in a free, athletic fashion. Large battle circles would form. Dancers would cover the floor in baby powder to reduce the friction on their feet. But these days, you mostly see people shifting from one foot to another all night. So, what happened? Why don't people dance like they used to? In New York, David Mancuso's loft parties were a melting pot for the boldest, most innovative moves of the 1970s.
The loft is the mother of the clubs around the world when it comes to dance music. It was that scene that created the clubbing we know today.
These private members-only events were founded on an ethos of self-expression and a non-judgmental attitude.
New York was a different era of everything, in that time. Frankie Knuckles was from the Bronx, and Tony Humphries was from New Jersey. They grew up around Larry Levan, who was in New York. And the dance scene in general came from disco and came from jazz.
In Chicago during the 1980s, the blossoming house music scene gave birth to a new dance style. It involved frenzied full-body movements, inspired by the drum-heavy jack tracks that were emerging. House music filtered into New York clubs like the Paradise Garage, where dancers paired freeform moves with elegant Latin steps like the boogaloo and the hustle. Breakdancing stormed the scene as the 80s rolled on, giving rise to a style that could only come from New York's cosmopolitan array of cultures. The mix that emerged was house dancing, a freeform style that privileges self-expression as much as formal technique.
There are a few steps that everybody kind of does. After you have those basic steps, it's just like martial arts. You learn those basic steps, and then you find yourself in that. You have the beat, and then you have the communication that goes on in the middle with everyone else.
Well, I think the uniqueness in what we do is a combination of everything being placed into the dance in particular. The way you connect all these different rhythms and body mechanic motions and just the feeling in general is special.
When we talk about house dance and people considering us house dancers, they didn't call us that back in the day. We were club heads who went to clubs, and what we were doing was we were clubbing when we danced the music.
By the mid-90s, dance music in New York had split into two major factions. On one side, there was the European-influenced rave scene, with its huge warehouse parties and high-intensity music. On the other was the house scene, which had clubs like the Red Zone, the Sound Factory, and Shelter. Soundtracked by DJs like Kerry Chandler and Louis Vega, at these clubs, house dancing solidified as a style in its own right, one that fused new street dances with older traditions like jazz and tap.
There were no cameras allowed in there, but I was a dancer every week there. Like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I was at the Sound Factory. House music was my love, but I was a street jazz girl who danced everywhere. I would go out during the weeks to Quick's, I would go to Nell's, I would go to all these different places. Each place had its own experience, even though we played house music there. They would play other things there, or they'd have live music. So you would actually dance to live music too. It wasn't just house music all night or hip hop all night.
New York nightlife in the 90s was famously fueled by heavy drug use, but the athletic nature of house dancing required relative sobriety. Many dancers came strictly to battle, not to socialize, and even after years of dancing together, knew little more than each other's first names. Clubs were reluctant to book these promoters because their crowds didn't spend much money at the bar.
In early house dancing, And it's not about alcohol or getting drugged up. It's athletic, it's about spirituality.
Dancers also require space, and lots of it. As New York rapidly gentrified in the later 20th century, rooms quickly got smaller and more expensive, leaving househeads with fewer places to congregate. When Mayor Giuliani was elected in 1997, he ran on a campaign to clean up the city, then led a nightclub crackdown that closed many of the key venues.
Well, here we are. It's a sad day in the underground nightclub history of New York. We have a club being torn down and stripped in like 72 hours here.
While this process was playing out in American cities, house music was already a massive moneymaker in Europe, leaving many of the scene's Black and Latin pioneers out of the loop. House music and its dance moved to the margins of popular culture.
There is a house dance community still vibrant, but it's so separated from, like, let's say the techno scene. Somebody would think house dancing died.
You might not see people sprinkling baby powder at the club, but the movement is actually bigger and more global than ever. There are urban dance tournaments in Russia, Holland, France, and Japan, and people travel thousands of miles to learn and compete. House dancing has become one of the main categories for meetups like these, alongside voguing, hip-hop, and whacking.
It's actually bigger today than it was in the 90s, because in the 90s, it was like a New York thing. Now they actually have businesses formed around it, and a lot of the dancers travel around the world and do different events all over the place, you know?
New York also has parties like Funkbox, Soul Summit, and Body and Soul, where old school heads and millennial club kids carry the torch for hardcore house dancing. The loft parties continue to this day, and there are loft-inspired events around the world that carry its non-judgmental ethos.
There's like one or two clubs now that cater to that, and we kind of really go out just to release.
Serious dancers bring an energy that's infectious, and it's because they're 100% locked into the music. House dancing allows people to show off their individual skill, but it's also about coming together. If house dancing can teach us anything, it's that self-expression needs a community to thrive.
Anywhere I want, anywhere I want, anywhere I want, anywhere I want. millimeters. Hey, real cool dudes, ain't nothing realer. And I'm setting up framework for a bigger picture. Look, bigger cars, bigger homes, bigger banks, no loan in the zone. Never stop till I own everything on the throne. And I'm gone out of space on the ship. Astronaut, I'm the shit. Cut the clip, ain't no more. Murder this. Fucking her, never mind, gotta grind, extra mile, fuck that, extra now, run the turf, now the sky, cloud now, so divine, cut the vine, squeeze the grape, drink the wine, finish that, over grind, overtime, shoot the shot, win the game, get the fame, remember the name, it's the law, and I'm raw. Look, I think it's just to kill the game, I'm the #1 doctor. Man, fuck it, I just killed this acapella, sorry, no, Shabba, Shabba,
We are the world, Joe.
we are the world, Joe.
When I eat, you eat too. When I win, you win too. If I got cookies, if I got cookies, you got cookies. I say. One is an MC, a master of the ceremony, born from the griot. Then you have a breaking boy or girl who know how to exist between the words of the music to extend the sound of the song. Then you have a graffiti artist who came from telling our stories through caves, cave walk. Then you have the mother of hip hop who can birth worlds just by spinning a finger. Used to, now you gotta use your thumbs to say this is technology. Yeah. The disc jockey. The fifth element is knowledge. You ain't gotta be able to do none of that shit. Just as long as you conscious of yourself, you hip hop, bro. When Tupac wanted anything he wanted, he put it above his light switch and above his bed so he could see it win. Let's go. All right. So, light yours off, man. Somebody take a picture of that real quick. I just want you to scroll past this whenever you get a chance and let this be a physical sign instead of us talking so damn much. All right, man, y'all in charge, man. I didn't give up, and y'all ass can't give up. So, I'm gonna let you put your own candle out. And you can keep this candle or you can throw it outside in the damn water if you want to. But what I did was I gave it to you. With all my experience, I passed it. The reason why I chose y'all is because God chose y'all. Now listen to what God say. I say. So let this year be the year that all of our seeds grow and not get burnt up, but get fed. The journey begins. Let's kick it off, y'all. All right.
All's my life I has to fight, nigga. All's my life I'm on the score.
Like gas challengers, I cannot dodge. Hey, now I'm on the road to success. Don't get me wrong, I'm feeling blessed. But you know I gotta keep a mental vest. Cause them shots to the head come straight from stress. But now I'm feeling good, still in the hood. Kicking random with the squad, roll up the wood. Anybody got a problem, wish they would. Thinking that I'm easy, turn to should. Can't rock with them all, circle smile.
Into the fire, transform into the Ghost Rider. A six-pack and a street car named Desire. Who got my back in the line of fire holding back? What? My peoples, if you with me, where the fuck you at? Niggas is strapped and they trying to twist my big cap. It's called a turn for the
right here.
School dropouts. Through the lights, cameras in action, glamour, glitters and gold. I unfold the scroll, plant seeds, the stampede, the glow when I'm deceased. But in the beast, to rise like yeast, to conquer peace, leaving savages to roam in the streets, live on the run. Police paying me to give them my gun, trick my wisdom with the system that imprisoned my son. Smoke a gold leaf, I hold it nonchalantly or raunchy, but things I do is real and never haunts me. Wow, funny style, niggas rolling a pal, rooster heads profile on a bus to rock us out, holding we this out. While they pussy with their minds on the pretty things of life. Props is the truth hug's wife, it's like a cycle. Niggas come home, someone go in through a bullet.
How you don't like
do the
hip
same
hop,
shit
man?
again, from the womb to the tomb.
Especially what it was, man. It was a real escape. It wasn't just like art, you know, like sometimes in class you're doodling, or we used to get in trouble for just drawing in the classroom when we were supposed to be doing work, of course. That drawing was a little escape, but hip hop was a universe. It was a portal that you go through, and then somebody crawled into that portal and turned it into a business mechanism. When it was really just a good space for kids to explode their nuclear emotions without really hurting themselves. So that's why I do what I do, man. I had to come to the realization that somebody made that platform for me to be Phenom. Somebody got up, drove their car, got on the bus, or did whatever they did, made deals with whoever the owners of those spots were, and turned the mic on and let us come in and become. And so that's why I do what I do. That was so good to me that I cannot possibly live this life without doing it for somebody else. I remember the exact moment I was at home, man, with my mama, and my daddy was gone, my brother was in jail, and it was just me and my mama, and I was latchkey teenager, about 13, yeah, around 13 years old, man. And I was in Oak Park and River Forest High School by that time. And my mom was trying to move us out the hood so the hood wouldn't get us, but it got my brother to an extent. And so I went to Oak Park, and they had this dance. They had this homecoming dance. And man, I first haven't even heard loud music on those loud size speakers. That's the first. Cause at the crib, you know, we had, you know, crib speakers. And my mom used to play Anita Baker all the time, and, you know, Luther Vandross and all of them. And she played some old school hip hop, but when I went to that homecoming dance, man, I remember the click. I was just standing around watching everybody. I'm like, this is cool, man. Look at that. Look at all these kids just by themselves. This is dope. And then the DJ played Dwick by Gangstar. Doom, 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 doom. Craig Nice, Craig NICE. And man, the way that hit me was like, whoa. The bass of it, and Gangstar, Any, Meanie, Mighty Mo. Man, he was like, I was a movie buff, and I was watching movies with my mom, and we just got through watching Die Hard, and he mentioned Die Hard. So I get most props from Stunts and Bruce Willis. I'm like, man, that was clever what he said, man. I just had a moment that it was just timelessness, and I was stuck in that rhyme and in that whole song, and I was like, wow, that was dope. That hit me. And then so after that, I was lit. And then I went home, and then on the radio, I remember it was Fast Eddie. Jump in, I was like, man, I could do that. Then I wrote me a rhyme, man, and went back to school and spit it in the locker room right before gym. And from that point, man, I was the man. I was the man from that point. From that point on, my whole life changed at 13.
So-called house music was first made in the creators' houses, but it was also performed at clubs called the Warehouse and Powerhouse. However it got its name, it's one of the hottest things going, and as Jay Levine reports, It may only be a matter of time before house musicians become heroes in their own homes.
They started playing house music at this Michigan Avenue Hotel and Health Club last summer, and they've been packing them in ever since. It's the first time house has escaped the South Side dance clubs or North Side juice bars for a more upscale audience, though it's still a long way from sweeping the city.
The main community, I would say, is South Shore and the Black LGBT community in South Shore. So in the early 70s, Chicago still very much had a racial and segregation issue. And many of the popular discos in Chicago, like the Bistro, had what was called like a black quota, where they would only allow only a certain amount of blacks in at a time. And so a group of guys, Craig Cannon being one of them, started throwing their own parties at these houses in South Shore. And Robert Williams moved here from New York. He was coming here visiting because some of these guys were actually his frat brothers. I don't know the fraternity though. And he eventually ended up joining them. Robert came from a juvenile correction background. And so he had this kind of thing about order instruction. He was able to kind of bring more structure to it. And those parties end up being so big that they had to find spaces because they had outgrown the houses. And so that's actually a train of thought when it comes down to the definition of where the term house music came from.
The term, actually where it comes from, some say this, some say that, but for me it came from the Club Warehouse, and it was just shortened to house.
House music started at house parties, hence the word house music.
Jesse Saunders pressed and did his own 12-inch. And on that 12-inch, it had his name and address and phone number on the label. And so places like Barney's and whatever, they would have, if they ran out, then what did you do? Then they wanted, George, how did you get the record? I called his house. That's where the term house music came from.
It's hard to pinpoint because everybody had a piece of something going all over Chicago. Because as much as you tell the story of Robert coming from New York, right, and moving here in '74, Ron Hardy, who was considered very much one of the main pioneers, where there is even always a battle between Ron Hardy and Frankie, with Frankie being considered the godfather of house. And Ron is being considered to be, there's people who consider Ron Hardy to be the godfather of the house, right? Ron Hardy was spinning at a club called Den 1 in 1974. Frankie didn't move here until 1977. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's so many bits and pieces, but so there is no, that's what I was saying, there's no one true origin story, because there's so many people and so many things that was happening across the city. But I would say the Big Bang moment had to be the South Shore Party. That's where the light was shining from, if you will.
I think they both come from struggle. I think they both come from wanting to be heard. I think they both are embedded in our history just of music, and rhythm, and cadence, call and response, poetry, dance. They're both symbiotic. They probably are more cousin than people give them credit for, you know. But I believe that it all comes from that same place of struggle, of us trying to be heard. And then saying, fuck them. I don't care if they hear me or not. If my people hear me, that's good enough for me. I know what I'm going to get when I go to a house party. I know what I'm going to get when I go see a rap show, you know. Or I know what I'm going to get when I go to a poetry venue. And that's going to be me and my people being able to convene together and be able to be heard. It's not necessarily being accepted by folks who don't get it.
This is for the love of hip hop. That's right. It keeps going and it don't stop. Taking back what they steal. So you capture the feeling.
There's no removing. It's like it's already kind of in you, right? I don't know if you would agree with that. Like, there's really no. It's not like I woke up looking for house. It was like I woke up and house was there already, right? So in terms of rap music and house music, and if there's like some type of dividing line, I don't think there was a clear distinction, at least not for my generation, at least. Because when I went to high school, I went to Hales Franciscan, right? So I went to Quigley South, then I went to Hales Franciscan. Right. And so anybody around that time, I came out in 1989. So anybody around that time, Hales threw the best parties. I'm saying that right now. If you got beef with me, look me up. We got beef. Hales had the best parties. Everybody from DJ Armando to Ferris to Terry Hunter, all these people I'm naming, you can verify DJ the dopest parties at Hales. So I'm saying that to say around that time, house music was it. Right? House music. So if you went to a high school party, whether it be at Hales, who had the best parties, or Leo, or Mendel, or Julian, or Dunbar, or any other schools in Chicago, the music of choice was going to be house music. And that's just how it was.
Hip hop wanted a piece of that dance floor, and they wanted that music to be played, but they were being stifled by all the house dudes who were doing high kicks and jumping all over the place and doing, their dance moves, showing their form of freedom and expression, and it clashed because which I still think is stupid to this day, they didn't want to seem like they were gay, and that's why a lot of the back and forth between hip hop and house went on. But whether we like it or not, house music is Chicago, and that constant battle had us really like physically getting into it in these dance floors and these clubs, and there was a definite separation with our DJs because they didn't know what to do, because they could say it's a house party, but here come the B-boys. It's a possibility the party may be over just because of them, and just a clashing of the two cultures.
You would bump into a lot of quote unquote house people who just they hated hip hop, and we wanted to be a part of dance culture, and that's really what it was. Hip hop and house were both dancing cultures, and very, very creative and musical cultures. But a lot of people didn't know that they had similar relationships with funk and disco. So we could be anywhere and it'll be like, oh, y'all hip hop, get that beat street out of here, and then it ended up becoming a war between house and hip hop, where it eventually wound up on radio. Like it happened at WHBK as well. Chili Q would be like, absolutely, positively, no house people allowed. And that was his moniker for no house people being at WHBK, because house actually alienated hip hop. For a long time, a lot of us had to hide the fact that we loved house music, among our hip hop peers, because we were alienated and treated so horribly by I guess you could call it elitist culture.
We were the kids that were listening to both hip hop on the radio and house on the radio. From hearing it from older relatives, and we just kind of took it and carried it on. But I think that age group, we kind of had a nice intersection where we can go back and forth. I would do hip hop parties, I would do house parties, and during my teenage or college years, there were a lot of parties that had hip hop and house as part of the lineup. It wasn't an all house party or all hip hop party. They were really bringing the two together, and we partied together. The hip hop became more commercial and became more marketable and made more money and brought in more advertising dollars and had bigger concerts and budgets. So I really think it was money rooted. House didn't do that. House stayed primarily underground with, moments of, commercial success. But the commercialization, if that's a word, of that genre really was a blessing and a curse. The more money that hip hop made, in some circles, the more watered down it became, the less authentic it may have become, depending on who you ask, as far as a hip hop artist. And I think when the radio stations can't make money off of it, they're not going to support it.
Because the thing about Chicago is once you have something here, you want to keep it to yourself. People are very proud here. They're proud of their neighborhoods. They're proud of their schools. They're proud of their communities. They're proud of their gangs. And those things are really, held close. And even though it's held close, once you find somebody who shares that with you, then they bought into your home or into your space as family. So if you listen to the same kind of music I listen to, vibe the way I vibe, do the things I do. There's a shared camaraderie in that I think it's like, oh, you up on that too? I like you.
House music is Larry Heard. House music is Lil Lewis. That's what house music is to me. Chicago is the only place I've been to where you might have a Mike Dunn who makes a certain sound. And then you have a Vic Lavin that makes a certain sound. Two totally different sounds. And in between that, you got people like the Glenn Undergrounds and like the Pevin Everetts and the Terry Hunters and and so you have so many different ways that you can go with it. And that's why I think it'll forever be unless we get the youth involved. That could be another question.
Everyone who looks at me or basically has an interaction with me because of my age already identifies me as a lover of hip hop, trap, rap, or basically whatever you like to associate or call it, right? But honestly, for me, I never really gravitated towards that. Like I'll listen to basically like classic hip hop before I listen to current stuff. That's me. I'll turn on some Tribe Called Quest before I turn on a Lil Baby. That's just me, and basically comes from how I was brought up and the music that was played in my house, or in my home per se, and that's just for me as an artist and just as a person. Now, as far as community-wise, I honestly think that the two are really two different worlds, and from my interaction with certain people, I've always heard this. I've heard this probably 3 or 4 times. It's like, don't mix house with hip hop, or don't mix hip hop with house. We don't want to hear a house track with rap on it. We don't want to hear, we don't want to hear that. So they certain people downplay the Missy Elliott's, certain people downplay the Pharrell Williams, who kind of hint at that sound, but don't necessarily go all the way. And so if you play it at a party in Chicago, you don't necessarily know what interaction or what response you're going to get on the dance floor. You know what I mean? And for me, as a younger DJ, it kind of hurts, because basically we have a separation with 2 major generations. There's my generation, and then there's the generation who founded the house music. Basically the age demographic from 30 plus to literally 29 and under, as far as what they like and sound that they like to listen to. Now, honestly, what I think would really merge that gap, or bring the gap together, is if the 2 genres collided as one.
This has not been open since 1999. I mailed it to myself. This is my rhymes. Wow. This is when I won the Source Unsigned Hype MC battle that came to Chicago. It was like they went to 10 different cities battling 100 MCs each city. And so I won for my city. I remember seeing this microphone right here with gloves on it. Like, oh man, not only could I express myself, but I could beat somebody's ass with what I'm doing. And so I wanted to do that with my lyrics, man. And I won. This was the first time I ever been on a plane. Damn, I know the date. I never thought of that. Where is it? Wow. This is my first plane ticket. Oh, wow. And I stayed at the Marriott Marquis. That's what hip hop do, baby. I stayed at the Marriott Marquis the first time just because I could rhyme, Joe. That was dope. This is the Source Unsigned Hype VIP band. What day was this? Where is it? Seat time. Damn, smoke. You could smoke on the plane back then? Damn. I'm not a house head, but I love house music. I don't know all the names. I couldn't
tell you who made this song or where it came from, but I love what it does, and seeing a house head enjoy their music is beautiful, man. That's first. What are these people doing? What's making them feel so good? And because they feel good, they went and rented out space. They went and dressed a certain way. They have certain people that they love who know the music. They weren't fighting at all the events. They weren't, it was love. And so in the beginning of hip hop, it was love. Then the music itself was brave. It was faster. It was different. House music helped carry that on. And I remember sneaking into the warehouse. I was a little dude, man. I was way too young to be up in there. The warehouse when it was on Randolph and Halsted. And I snuck in there, man, and I was like, damn. Oh, this is how you enjoy music to its fullest. And that picture is in my mind when I'm hosting an event. I want people to be just that free. I want people to be just that open to where, they love it and they escaping. So people like, I was blessed enough to meet Ron Trent. I was blessed enough to meet E Smooth. E Smooth was the first one that I met. E Smooth Miller is a house music legendary remix master. So he would remix Michael Jackson, Biggie, and all these major people, and those would blow up from here to overseas. And so he found myself and my mans in them. Shout out to Iahim, Family Jewels. He found us on the corner, man, rhyming. He presented an idea to us where he wanted to go get into hip hop. And so he wasn't necessarily a hip hop producer. He was a house producer. And so with that DNA over his beats, we were meshing worlds together. And I think in the origin of hip hop, house music and different ways of enjoying it and loving it all came together at these places where people agreed to meet. And then people got pollinated by those and went to other places and cross-pollinated other people. And when you hear Chicago music, the DNA of it is, this is my own stuff. Most likely, I'm not trying to do this to be famous. That's why it took so long for the industry to come to Chicago, because we weren't trying to be famous. We was trying to be felt. We was really just releasing it first. And then, did you feel that? Because, man, I was zoned out. That's the type of music that we have.
Thank you, God. Appreciate you, God. Troublemakers in the building, y'all. Give a big welcome home, y'all, to the one and only Jamie 326. I said, give a warm home welcome to Jamie 326. So one second.
To run down the list, most definitely the Warehouse, the Music Box, the Power Plant, the Powerhouse, Medusa's, the Hummingbird, the Gentle Persuasion, Hyde Park Racquetball Club, all the high school parties. It's still a lot of stuff that I know I'm kind of missing, but for the most part, that's it, and that's the culture, because it basically started as well. You can't forget the neighborhood basement house parties, because that's where it started. The natural progression was your neighborhood basement parties where you had the index card with a big W, who, what, where, when, all of that. Pay 50 cents or $1 to get in. Then you graduated to the high school dances, things like that. Then you either went into something else or you went to the underground, you know, the real raw thing. That's like the natural progression of this thing. It is black music, and it is a black culture that was related to it. It's the same exact thing, just like with hip hop. You have a style of dress, style of talk, certain music you listen to. You could just see someone and know, hey, they house, where the party at? Especially if you on the train or something like that, you know, you just knew, you know, hey, they going to a party. And once again, it's another facet of Chicago, black Chicago history. And you can't deny that. It's social impact. For the most part, Europe respects it. They most definitely look at Chicago as Mecca. Dance music is a part of regular culture in Europe and the UK. So it's everywhere. You hear it on the radio, you still have people buying it, supporting it, things like that. But with hip hop, it's everywhere. And as well, especially where I'm from in the Netherlands, they eat up anything that's American culture because we're cool. We make things cool. So there's still a huge, you know, dancing, there's festivals, there's all that. That's why I'm there. And it's just a big difference. Most of the crowds I DJ for, the average age is 25.
When people 17 years old that listen to hip hop and they don't know house, but their perception of EDM doesn't equate to house because house Chicago isn't teaching the history beyond its time frame. Like everybody got stuck in this temporary mindset and couldn't see beyond a certain point.
We have to bring the youth into this and as well let them see. I don't intend to be out at somebody's lounge fist pumping at a bar while, you know, Jack My Body is being played. You know, I love it, but you know what I'm saying? I can't do it that way. So if we don't start doing this, especially now, we're gonna be the generation that dies with it.
So nigga, if you broke, keep it to yourself. Shut your mouth and keep it to yourself. Stop playing, keep it to yourself. Yeah, I know you broke, but keep it to yourself. Get your losses checked, don't tell yourself.
We free our hood. We in Wicker Park. We in Wicker Park. Niggas in Wicker Park. Niggas in Wicker Park. And we free our world. And we free our world. When I eat, you eat. You eat. If I got cookies, go get some Oreos. You get some Oreos. When I win, you win. You win. I love you. I love you. I love me. I love me. I love everybody. I love everybody. I say. I say. I say. I say. I say. I say. I say.
Because I remember when I was a new kid, when I walked in, I saw my name on the list, and I didn't know if I was going to get my name. And to go from that to now, I'm the person who's going to call people to perform at a place that they can't wait to happen again next Wednesday. The people are literally, and I know they're preparing, they have dedicated their week to that next Wednesday. Because I used to be that. I used to be that guy.
It's like being the manager at a Fortune 500 company and being promoted to the CEO.
Oh God!
So we treat it
with your homie.
No, baby.
With your homie.
With your homie. Like, so we treat it as important as he would, man. So and we just appreciate the opportunity. It's so much that comes behind this. You get booked off of this, you can eat off this. So we definitely appreciate it. Yeah, it was special. It definitely was a special night, honestly. Felt the energy of our ancestors in the room. We did libation. We did a lot of things that night, honestly. It was great.
Platform is family. That's family. When I came here, I had nothing.
I came straight to the platform. I got out of jail, came straight here, and I felt family. I felt love immediately. Everybody helped me succeed, helped me extend my music, you know, as far as what I was trying to say, who I was trying to be, helped me just express, you know, what I felt like, and made me comfortable. Comfortability is everything. You know, through our music, through rhythm, through lyrics, through movement, through who we move with, through how we move.
Some people come here for the family. There's a lot of really talented artists who come here and don't sign no race.
Exactly.
They come for the vibe. They come for the feel, to see their people, to be at this weekly family reunion. Because family reunions usually happen once a year. And besides that, people usually link around death and funerals. And this is a weekly family reunion. And people come here to do more than just perform. They come here to feel. They come here to love and receive that.
Footwork is something that actually been here way before me and you. Footwork is basically going back to the 60s. You know, if you really want to know, go to the origins of it, you know, from bopping to, and for those who know what bopping is, that was something that my mom used to do back in the late 60s to the 70s. And of course, bopping turned into stepping. And stepping, which is full shuffling of the feet, smooth music, and fancy footwork. And of course, later on in the years, a lot of dance crews from Spy Guys and a lot of these crews that were forming from being at these parties. If it was Sawyer's, if it was Warehouse, if it's the Factory, those origins were taking place in house music. But what really validated it was when tracks like Adonis' No Way Back, Music is the Key, Funk with the Drums, Farley Jack Master Funk's joints came out in 1985 and 86. And that's when it started to bubble and people started to, do that dance. So it's been here. House music is the umbrella. Ghetto house is the bastard child of house music. You have acid, you have deep disco, you have hip house, which is the unwanted child of house music. But when you have that unwanted child, the unwanted child speaks out loud. So the unwanted child birthed juke music. And through juke music, through ghetto house, what is our style of dance? We're footworking. It's the elements of hip hop there because what we seeing, doing with the uprock, with the body rock uprock, and but more of house music is super influence of house music because that's what juke and footwork music is. The juke and footwork are the grandchildren of house music. Period. Can't deny it.
I don't know any other house but Chicago. I understand when you go other places, this is what they call house. Then I have to be like, okay, I know what they mean. This is not my house, but this is what they understand of house. I think the premise of a house party is the overall energy of everybody dancing, feeling a vibe, Like for Chicago, the early dance for what is associated with house is jacking. They even made a song about it. And I think this jacking motion, you know, somewhat stayed with the aesthetic of house dancers. New York house dancers, they don't know about the jacking, you know, but that's not their style, you know. I mean, that's what I grew up doing. I can somewhat, people, when I do jack, people understand, oh, you come from Chicago. They can associate what I'm doing with Chicago, which I never thought nothing about it. The stunts of disco being dead, which we didn't never get the memo. even the hip hoppers didn't get the memo. Oh, disco is dead. Okay, but that's when people start. The music still survived from the house music from the 70s, and still it just morphed into something new. I know when I'm digging or when I'm just listening to music, I'll ask myself, will this work on the dance floor? Or how would this work on the dance floor? Does this give me a house feel? When I say house feel, am I moved by it? Can I get into it? Can I get lost in the music? I done heard people put overlay like Bessie Smith. That's Ron Hardy. That was a big famous singer. He'll put on, a track will be going, but he'll lift the vocals. My name is Bessie Smith. You know, something that's way back, you know, like blues. Or my friend Sada, he always start off with the song Denise LaSalle, who's a blues artist, but he always starts his set off, Made a Funk Be With Me. Just the beginning, not the whole song, because you'll get lost. Just the beginning. If you let it go past the beginning, you done fucked up. You don't know what you're doing.
I think that you started to get the divide then when words stopped being important. In house music, disco music, those are melodies and songs about something, about love or about being disbanded, about being pushed away, about being together, about being free, about your sexuality, all that stuff. But when words stopped mattering in rap music, that's when the divide came, because now you can tell there is no symbiotic relationship.
I can't say that I've ever been to a party here where they were both played and it was a huge success. I don't know if there is a relationship. I think one is one and one is the other.
It's a lot of this, oh, I know what that is, and it's a lot of, what is that? If you're saying, what is that about a genre of music that you used to be able to readily identify and easily identify as hip hop or rap music, that's not good.
WHBK CTA Radio, live and full effect. It's a Wednesday, y'all. Any requests, hit us up, 773-702-8424. Again, 773-702-8424. Like we do every year, 20 years. Anniversary coming soon. Back to the music, y'all.
Wow, you got here fast.
I drove like a bat out of hell. I drove. How you doing? I drove like crazy. That's the.
We didn't have, a lot of big labels in Chicago, and so it kind of forced the pioneers to figure it out for themselves and to find out, who would press records and who would give them deals. And so there was a bit of a raw element to that, and kind of a simplicity to it, and that you hear that also in the early tracks. They were very simple, but they were fueled, by what we were hearing with the electronic dance music from other parts of the world, and combined with what we were hearing in places like the power plant and the warehouse and many of Music Box and many of those clubs. So, the application of the way that music was played at those clubs helped to fuel the creation of the music that we heard. And I just don't know that could have happened anywhere else. I mean, we also had, a black mayor at the time, Harold Washington, and we had juice bars at the time where, young kids could be out until 8 o'clock in the morning absorbing all this music. And they had the energy and the drive to go home and, recreate it themselves. So I think it was really a combination of a lot of factors that led to it being happening here in Chicago and sort of Chicago being the birthplace for it.
Well, to me, I feel like they work together all the time. At this point, it's just no big announcement of it, because the tracks a lot of people rap to aren't really like quote unquote hip hop tracks. They're just tracks. And a lot of the house records aren't, just house records, they're just tracks. I just think we're in a moment now where it's just music, personally. Because I rap on whatever I like. I don't really try to qualify this is this kind of track, this kind of, that kind of track. Like I heard Moody Man from Detroit, we're driving in Greece and our driver is just playing all this random stuff, and I'm just like, man, what is that? I like that, I want to rap on that, man. And the label hits him up and, he's like, cool. But at no time I was like, oh man, I'm about to rap on a house track. I'm about to rap on the track.
The young people of today don't understand the origin of where a lot of their music comes from. I was on a panel discussion one time, and we were discussing Frankie Knuckles in the panel discussion. And one of the younger DJs in the discussion that plays techno or EDM, he said, I really don't see how Frankie Knuckles ties into what I do. Right. It was a silence fell over the room. Like Frankie Knuckles is the reason you do what you do.
Radio did not support house music. Radio supported hip hop, and there was a lot more money and interest, in supporting hip hop. You could call it race, you could call it, I don't know. There were other interests, I would say, in supporting hip hop versus house music.
We want the niggas, bitches, and tricks. We want that. This is a movie. We want to take your entertainment and just like disco and create a disco duck. We gonna put hip hop on everything. We're gonna put a gold chain. We're gonna turn your hat to the side and make movements and hand gestures and all of this crazy ass shit that we don't get to see in our community, but mimic what they do. And we gonna pay you to do it.
What defines Chicago House to me is, number one, we started it. It begins here. It's a form of disco music, but in our own raw take of the disco sound is Chicago house music. We've done a lot of stuff to where we mimic older records, but we stripped them down and maybe just took the bass lines, but then it's that 808, it's that 909, it's that feeling of those drum machines that kind of put that stamp on house music. And you know it when you hear it. Sometimes you can't even describe it like house, what it's, or how do you define house? It's a feeling. Sometimes it's undescribable, but it's something about Chicago house that is raw, that is deep, that is hard-hitting tracks. And obviously we've elevated it into beautiful songs, beautiful instrumentation through music. And so that's what Chicago house is. It was just something that Wayne saw in me and wanted me to bring that, what I was doing, to Chosen Few. And at that time, again, I was traveling, and I think Wayne felt that I could take the brand and kind of launch it and bring it to the world. And that's what happened, man. I spread the gospel all over the world, like, yo, look at what we're doing in Chicago. A lot of the fellas that has not been able to travel, like myself, Mike Dunn, and Jesse, to get their just due and to see what the word is like through the music, that they're kind of responsible for people knowing all over the world but don't know it. And so I think at the end of the day, that's what Wayne was looking for. He was just looking at that look and that brand that I can help shine some light back on to our group, man, and it worked out. Chosen Few role really in the climate and in the community of Chicago and house music all over the world. I just think that this started in 1990, 1991. Obviously, it was not planned to be what we currently are right now, is a running festival. But again, house music promotes love, man. House music promotes this feeling that is just really undescribable. And I think throughout the years, people were attracted to that feeling. People were attracted to that love. We look at the radio stations, and we've partnered up with one of the main radio stations in Chicago on a few of our events in the past, V103, and they have major artists that they do a big jam, and they do this festivals that they do every summer. And Chosen Few, without no radio at all, can sometimes double or triple the amount of people that they have at these artists that are A-list artists. And so you look at yourself and you be like, well, damn, how is that? Why is that? Again, without no promotion, without no radio, this is just homegrown and has been massive to people that have adapted this genre of music from all over the world. And so I just think the love, man, like you could come to Chosen Few picnic and someone is barbecuing and you're a stranger and somebody will offer you a plate. That's how the Chosen Few has been able to be successful, just with the love from what we get from our people. When I was in New York and extending my travels, every time I went to a house club, I saw rappers there. Hell, I remember going to the late Zanzibar in New Jersey, and we took a cab from New York, and I got out the cab, and it was a red BMW parked out by the Zanzibar before we walked in, and it was Biz Markie. And I was like, telling my man, like, yo, that's Biz Markie. He at the Zanzibar? And later, me and Biz Markie became super close, and he remembered that story. I don't know who started it, where it came from. Maybe it's to do early on that a lot of the gay scene was, you know, into house music, and when you was a rapper, you was a street dude, and that was a no-no. You know, I'm guessing that's what it might have been, but I've never understood the separation.
Black pussy. No fruit possesses a sweeter juice. Blackberry healing from heaven's festival healing booth. You broken inside, that's the x-ray that can see you through. Find the messiahs it produced and you can see the proof. Travel back in time to the poplar tree, you can see the noose. Swaying in the wind in the background, you can see the youth. Playing by the shack on his back as a man you think that who fathered them babies, but it's crazy. If you listen, you can hear the truth. Master got that black pussy upstairs playing peekaboo.
I'm gonna go home. Why is he blowing shit up like that? Shit.
Come on, man.
Rewind.
I feel bad for the next performance.
I was just thinking.
Travel back in time to the poplar tree, you can see the noose. Swaying in the wind in the background, you can see the youth. Playing by the shack on his back is a man you think that who fathered them babies, but it's crazy. Listen, you can hear the truth. Master got that black pussy upstairs playing peekaboo. Pokemon by the window, look out the wet curtains and Pikachu.
I just seen all of that. Who going next? Don't.
Teaming with his demons, you hear him screaming and leaning too. Them demons fill it with semen and send her back to sleep with you.
Ooh. Ooh. Hold it. Hold it. Hold that.
Hold on.
See, with that black P-U-S-S-Y.
Hey, respect the mic. Who got more than that back
There's
there?
never no you and I. Unity always begins with a you and I. When it's verse all, it starts with a you and I. See the man in the mirror? Now that's the first you and I. Blink, think, impossible to touch it. Grab that nut that they say you are, then bust it. Oh! I'll go against. Hold it. I'll go against the tank with a butter knife for my dreams, cause I believe in believing it. I go against the tank with a butter knife for my dreams, cause I believe in believing it. I believe in the things that was promised to me. Catch me blowing through my obstacles. Too late, doc. Shouldn't have let my mama leave the hospital. You should have tried to stop it, dude. Call it law, block the door. But you let her escape with the most amazing phenomenal. Asalamo Osama, the anti-comic atomical. Avalanche, Alabama, the Nagasaki, Rwanda. Like a rumba, young doctor, electrifying them blocker. Can't stop a Zulu or Shaka, Shalaka, Laka, Chiraka.
Who's going next?
The Sam. Hey, you can make a meme out of this.
Tonight, coronavirus exploding coast to coast. The U.S. adding 1 million new infections in the last week alone, pushing total cases to 11 million.
Around COVID that's going to help him in November, but I guess they'll keep trying.
People, the hunger to get out of the house and dance is definitely, I'm sure, out there. I miss seeing people, you know. I know what this is. I'm not trying to get out anywhere and make any unnecessary movements. No. I know it's very necessary what's going on, but folk who listen to house music are accustomed to getting together, converging on one spot every week or whatever, and none of that is happening.
I consider myself an extreme optimist, right? But, you know, if I said I'm just good and left it at that, that's really plain for me. You know, during this time when this situation first hit, you know, I had like my strong stance, my b-boy stance on, but I definitely had wave of emotions.
We're in the summer now, and hell, it's Friday night. If this were, you know, last year this time, Thursday night at the pier or 31st Street Beach, that would be happening. Everybody would be there. But yeah, everything shut down, man. So it's definitely affecting the community in an adverse way.
think it's forced us to be introspective, to work on our craft, to sharpen skills, to reflect, to get ready for the opening, whatever that may look like. I think people are going to be anxious to get back together, especially in hip hop, because we're so communal. We're going to want to start ciphering and rapping. But I think 2020 has shown us that we can survive. We can do this.
My name is Omega, the beginning and end. Tell your friends, I'm at it again. Chun-Li, any beat, with the bass back being. And I'm waiting heartbreakers, I'm a heartache man. 22 Aquarius, ain't scared of shit, finna go to college. Ain't celebrates, dirty old Converse. Ain't wearing rings, all missing money, nigga, might lose business out this world. First so stitch, money so mismatched. Casement, jig, jump shop at Saks. Hit the tip on Friday night, I plead the fifth to hey. I ain't taking sips, won't hit your blunt or take no rips. I meditate, my candles lit. Allow my chakras, then I play on the house. And house music was
I'm actually optimistic that we might even come out a little bit ahead of the game, more self-aware, and more feeling like we want to be in control of our destiny after feeling for so long that we didn't. So I think maybe that may be what we gain out of it.
How do we want the culture to look like? I think is the more important question, because we really have the power to define that financially, all of that, right? So yes, I do see us changing. I don't see us going back to the old way, but it doesn't mean the old way is lost. The old way just finds its way to reinterpret itself in a new present sense.
Breaking into our newsroom in the last hour, losing the mask for those who are fully vaccinated in Illinois.
Governor J.B. Pritzker announcing the state will align with new CDC guidelines. So this means fully vaccinated people can stop wearing masks and stop practicing social distancing in most indoor and outdoor settings. As of today, more than 4.5 million people in Illinois are fully vaccinated.
Electing these moves, sometimes you gotta question the truth and what it all means.
it's all schemes. Smoking mirrors, reflecting no shattered dreams, like staring at broken mirrors. They can act like they don't see us, guarantee you they hear us. Police shoot us down because supposedly they fear us, right? This shit is crazy.
If you show me your playlist, I'll show you what type of day you'll have. You know, if you show me your playlist, I'll show you the characteristics of your personality. Because you are what you listen to. Chicago needs peace. Chicago needs love. Chicago needs inclusion. House music provides all three of those things.
But I hope we appreciate and love each other even more, since it was a time where we couldn't get together. So now that we can get together, don't go back to the same old bullshit or hating on one another and shit. Remember it. This is about love, us coming together, exchange of energy.
Think of how much more music could have been done if we respected each other's struggle, because the struggle was the same. That separation slowed down music that could have been, or a culture, a super culture that could have been phenomenal for a people. Let's not do that anymore. We know what that end result looked like. So let's do the opposite. What could possibly go wrong?
This right here, this is hip hop and house music. Hip hop, house music, and neo soul together. This is Ron Trent, the Magnificent label, right? Yao and Phenom. This is the first time I saw myself on wax. I'm on wax, mama. Man, I remember seeing Common and seeing Barry White and all these other historic artists get their music on a record. I'm on a record in Japan. And it's sold out. Ooh, that's what's up. Praise God, man.
You can't like anything from Chicago and not understand that there's a group of people in that are being freed. You're going to like it because of what the people are doing with it. They are freeing themselves. Best example, I'm on the bus, I'm thinking about my life. Man, I ain't got no money. It's raining. It's raining. I ain't got no money. And I'm on the bus on the west side. So the west side, dirty where I'm at, where I was, it was dirty. And I'm just looking out the window, man, and I see this dude in a wheelchair with no legs. In a mechanical wheelchair with no legs, going fast as hell down the middle of the street, singing in the rain. He had some old school some Walkmans on, boy, with this metal thing right there. And he was singing his ass off. And that made me say, wow. Look at how he's enjoying life. I want to enjoy life like that. I'm tripping. That's what these musics, these genres, these cultures do for us. We don't have to be in that circumstance to really feel the goodness of it.
That, to me, is why house music and hip hop work so well for us, because it makes us move. It gives us power. If you got the right DJ doing it in either one of those things, because essentially it's back to the DJ. And if they can make you feel that way and make you understand that this is what this is, that's it.